What's going on, everyone? Christy with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal, and today is going to be a day of marketing and possibly a junk removal slash move that's probably going to be a pain, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. Right now, we are at a new senior living facility they built in my area. I had been waiting for this place to open up. I stopped by a couple weeks ago to introduce myself, and they don't even have residents yet. But the manager, or one of the managers, was here, and she was super excited because she's like, this is probably something we're going to absolutely need. So I was able to squeeze in right at the perfect time. And today we're doing a sit-down meeting with her and her manager to a little bit, get to know each other a little better and discuss exactly how services we can kind of assist with them. Can't say I've ever done a sit-down meeting with a senior living facility. Usually you just go in, chit-chat, hand cards, and leave. So went ahead and brought everybody a Starbucks coffee. I personally don't like Starbucks coffee black. It's super bitter. Like, it's not good if you drink it black, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I gotta fight through the struggles while I sit down with two other people who are drinking it and hopefully like it. I would rather get Dunkin' Donuts, but I always just assume that people are a little bit more bougier than they are and go with the Starbucks option. So we're gonna go in there. Hopefully everything goes well and I can sign up as a vendor with them, and this will just be one more source of jobs that's relatively close to home and that I can hopefully get some repeat work from. So the meeting is complete. I have moved on to the next senior living. Well, actually, this is more of a rehab to market to. The meeting went over really well. They got a pretty good insight of what we do, how much we charge, gave some examples of situations and how much it would roughly be based on the other places I work for. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into this, and we'll see how many places we can get vetted into right off the back, or how many people we have to email later on, and how many people will say, no, we don't want you. So let's get to it. So we got some business cards for the managers. They're in a morning meeting, which hopefully everyone isn't in a morning meeting. But I've been learning from my mistakes, or not so much mistakes, but I've been learning from like the ways I've been doing things, because I think you should always be improving how you do stuff. When I go to senior living facilities, my first question is your executive director or sales manager available? Because those are the two people I deal with the most everywhere I go. And if they ask what is it regarding, I say I'm a local junk removal business looking to work with your building. Not just I don't even mention I have business cards with me, because we ran into that one problem with the lady at the front desk that said, we don't do the solicitation, but I'll take a card. Okay, I got their email, by the way, when I went to do a job there. So I asked for those two people specifically, which to me means that I know who to deal with, which gives me a little bit of credibility. And then I let them know I'm here to work with their building, not just pass out cards and flyers. So I'm not just soliciting, I'm actually trying to work with you. And at that point, if they're not available, I ask for a business card with an email so I can directly message them. And when I send that email, I don't just say, hi, my name is Chris with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal. We're a local business. This is what we do. I'd love to work with you guys, blah, blah, blah. I do that, but I ask to set up a meeting to meet with them in person so I could discuss things further. Because to me, I think a lot of emails get lost in translation. So if I can set up a meeting to actually meet with them, talk one-on-one, and really put a face to a name, and just get everything out of the way without having to bounce back and forth, because you got to imagine these people are busy, then I think that is all the better. So that is always what I try to do, and I've been kind of constantly improving on how I do stuff. So that is my tip. What I will do is, if they're not available and I take a business card, I'll say, can I drop off a card for you to give to them? I will also be emailing them later today. So this is literally just a contact card, just to let them know, like, hey, this is who stopped by. You're going to be getting an email from him later. So that is what I like to do. And I found that to work a little bit better. All right, so we just went to our second one, got another card. This was a good example of almost being kicked out for solicitation, and I kind of caught myself and kind of steered it in the direction I wanted to. So when I went to the front desk, you can usually tell when the front desk people are looking at you like, why are you here? That they're gonna invoke the no solicitation, which is on the front door, by the way. So again, I made it my priority to say I work with a lot of local buildings. I'm looking to work with you guys to see if you have a vendor already set up. If not, because I know my services are always needed. So she called over her assistant of the sales director, which is perfect, and she gave me her card. And I told her, I said, I'll shoot her an email and kind of introduce myself and try to set up an appointment. I know you guys are super busy, especially with the summer and everyone's moving down. And the lady said, oh, yes. See, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm familiar with these places, and that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to connect myself with them and let them know, like, hey, I'm not just some Joe Schmo. I'm very familiar with your guys' setting. I work in a lot of your places. So I understand, I know what happens here, and that is all I'm trying to do. My goal is to make contact and try to set something up, but getting past the front desk is sometimes difficult, and more so than it needs to be. So that is the tricky situation, and that is what we just got done doing. So I think that was a good scenario. All right, so apparently Thursdays is meetings day. Every place I've gone to so far, they're in a meeting. So I have a lot of cards and emails to send out, which isn't the worst thing, because if I can set up an appointment, then obviously all the better. And you normally can't find their email address on their website. So you either have to call and then read off the phone and hope you get it right, or go in person. When you reach out to say, I'd love to talk with you a little bit more regarding our services and how we can benefit your building. If you can spare a 15-minute appointment with me, that would be wonderful, and I can adjust my schedule to yours, because you have to be the one to be accustomed, because they are probably more busier than you are. At least that's how I feel. That they're going to be bringing me money, not the other way around. I'm just going to be saving them stress and headaches of calling people, but they're going to be bringing me a lot of money, hopefully. So I like to adjust as much as possible to their schedule. So every time I get a card, I'm writing down the date I visited and the time I visited. And if I talk to somebody specific, for example, at the last one we went to, I talked to the assistant of the executive director. So I wrote down her name on the card. So when I go to email them, I can say, I spoke with your assistant, blah, 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 and they gave me your card and told me to set up an appointment with you. So it's just letting them know, like, I actually stopped by and attempted to talk to you. I didn't just get your email somewhere. So I find that to be helpful as well. I remember this place now. I couldn't figure out where to go to get information, because they have 4 different buildings all next to each other, but none of them specify, like, this is the front entrance, this is the lobby. So we're just gonna go pop in a building and say, oh, I'm in the wrong spot, where did I go? Driving down the road, and there's this car behind me flying by, and it, like, always makes me nervous, because, like, they're not gonna be able to go many places, and, like, I don't want them to hit me. And, like, the cars are stopped at a red light, and what does she do? She waits last minute to cut behind the car, cuts me off, almost hits me. And, like, I've gotten better with not getting angry about this kind of stuff, because I'll go into full outrage. But, like, if she would have hit that car, she'd probably be dead. She's probably going at least 55, 60, and she whipped that car. And then just went to go turn left into a fucking gas station. Like, what are you doing? Where are you trying to go? And then when I went to go turn into this place, which is, like, turning onto the turnpike, so, like, one of the major highways, the car that was behind me, tailing me pretty much the last 2 miles, like, just kept going and sped up after I turned into the turn lane, which the car in front of us was turning left into the highway. Almost hit them. Yesterday, I almost got hit twice coming back from Chris Loppy Moving Services. I swear, every day, like, it's like a game out here trying to not get hit by somebody else. And, like, you might think, oh, if somebody hits you, like, you can just take insurance and go buy a new truck. No, that's not how that works. Half the people down here don't even have insurance, which is against the law, but they still do it, and then you're screwed. And Florida's a no-fault state, so if you don't have proof, luckily, like, I have a dash cam at least on my front. But if you have no proof of what happened and it just puts you in a bad position, there's a good chance you're still going to have to pay out of pocket. And I don't want my insurance to go up, because it's commercial. It's already expensive. So you're going to actually, even if it's not your fault, you still have to pay extra for your premium. So it makes me genuinely nervous. One day I'm going to work at a remote job and not have to go anywhere. But yeah, we're at this place now, and then after that we just have one more place. So we'll see what happens. All right, so I just wanted to give a quick little backstory about that junk removal job that we were supposed to be doing because it is super confusing and it's probably going to frustrate you as much as it frustrates me. So this lady called me last night and she's a referral of a doctor I did a job for like a year and a half ago. And she talked to me on the phone for 18 minutes without ever telling me what it is that she needs. She was just explaining the situation with her daughter and her husband, and her daughter's moving to New York, and the movers forgot to grab something, blah, blah, blah. And she, at one point, she was like, I don't even know what service you provide, so I don't know if you can even help me. And I was like, then why are you calling me? She's like, yeah, like the doctor just said, like, oh, this is your guy, talk to him, which I appreciate, but the whole time she just never told me like what she needed. And it wasn't until the very end she was like, so yeah, we have this big TV stand we need removed, and then we need an area rug delivered to UPS. So I gave her a price for the TV stand, and I said, while I'm there, I'll go ahead and take the rug to UPS, and I'll just charge you like an hourly rate for that. So I just tacked on like 1 hour. So altogether it came out to $180. And she got back to me like an hour later, and she's like, my husband thinks that's too much money. Can you go lower? And I said, no. And she's like, okay, I understand. And she called me back this morning, and she's like, my husband still thinks it's too much money. Are you sure you can't go down your price? And I said, no. And like right before we were supposed to do that job, because I was already in the area where we were doing the senior living facility marketing, she called back and she said, so we may have found someone to get the TV stand, but we're not sure. And, but we're probably still going to need you for the carpet. And I was like, okay. And keep in mind, they have to be out tomorrow morning. And I said, well, if I'm not picking up the TV stand anymore, I'm going to charge you more money for doing the carpet then. Because that means I have to drive a half hour out to you, wrap up a carpet, bring it to UPS, assuming it's a quick transition, and then drive a half hour back. Collectively, it's probably going to be a 2 hour process. So I'm going to charge you my normal delivery rate, which is usually between $125, $150, depending on what I'm doing. And she's like, okay, I understand. So it's her that understands, but her husband apparently doesn't. So I assume he just never worked in service. But yeah, she told me on the phone that her daughter had already moved to New York and the movers left the stuff behind, so there's no one at the apartment. And then today she said that her daughter is still packing and there's stuff all over the carpet on the floor, so they're not going to be ready to move the carpet anyways. And I was like, you're really back and forth with the story. So I'm actually kind of hoping we don't end up doing this job, because it doesn't even sound worth it at this point. But I am glad I managed to get my marketing out of the way. That was something that got pushed on the back burner because last week we got busy randomly throughout the week, and it kept pushing all my marketing days back a little bit. But hopefully those tips helped you guys. That's what I've kind of found to do over time, is adjust as you go. The more you work with a specific person or type of place, the more you learn about what works for them and what they care about the most. So when you go to re-pitch yourself to other places in the same field, you can speak upon experience, and I feel like it helps give you a little bit more credibility in what you're talking about. So that is what I found to be helpful. But I will see you guys probably next week. We have a couple of bigger jobs coming up, and I think next week we're probably going to try to do realtor marketing and I think storage units. So I will see you guys then. Bye.